Hey, what up guys, it's Dmitry Tokarev, and well, I'm back for another episode of Russia, How It Is. Today, we're going to discuss something that is, I'm quite sure, popular. I know this for a fact. It's a popular question about Russia, and that is whether or not racism exists in Russia. Now, originally, I had no intention of recording this video. I mean, you can just look at my face and tell that I just woke. But I woke to a comment, someone asking, first comment by the way, so I will remember this if you stick around to be a long subscriber. You know, get you a visa and a Russia ticket to come visit. I think you'd quite enjoy it. Anyway, this commenter asked, are they racist? Or are there racist people here? Generally speaking, yes, there are racist people in every country. But I don't know where this person lives, so I don't know what their idea of racism is. But of course, I'm from the United States. And well, the racism that we have there is different than the kind of racism you have here. In fact, the racism that you have here isn't exactly racism. You see, here there is a multiculturalism issue. There are over 111 different ethnicities that live within these 9 different time zones. I mean, really think about it. That's how big Russia is. The next time you have a globe, or you're maybe on Google Earth or something, just like actually zoom out and look at how big the country is. It like wraps around 85% of the world. So there are a lot of people, a lot of different kinds of people who just live in this territory now called Russia. And you know, if you go back 200, 300, 400 years, pretty much every country that you know it as now, those borders didn't exist. They were something completely different. Which means that these new powers, political powers of course, that drew these new borders, just made some people Russian. Or just made some people German. And this is why, I forget the author's name. There was a book called The Clash of Civilizations, that this would be the new issue moving forward after the Cold War. And this is essentially what you see in the Middle East. This is what you see in Africa, even some parts of Asia and South America, that these powers who drew these new borders did so irrespectively of the nationalities that lived within them. And so now people are just forced to coexist. So back to Russia. You have over 111 different ethnicities here. And well, they are similar in some ways, but then they are really different. And they all have to live under this Russian nationality or this Russian identity, you know? And so that can be quite problematic. As for the Russian people, it's quite interesting because you essentially find that, you essentially find that no one else but the Russian people actually care about this kind of thing. I'm looking for a post office right now. I looked it up on the map and it said it was over in this area. And well, I'm on the phone recording, so I can't exactly. Let me check over here. I can't exactly look at the map right now. Anyway, it's quite interesting because no one else except for Russian people actually care about living within these same borders. So when you get into this conversation of racism, it mostly applies to Russian people because it's not even something that's about race. It's like if you're not Russian, you know, it's not if you're Uzbek, if you're Kazakh, if you're Ukrainian, if you're black, if you're American or anything. It's like, you know, you're not Russian. And this is where this Russian nationalism comes from. It's not an issue here for most people, but you do run into those kinds of situations. Personally, I haven't. It's quite a safe place to be. I could have gotten into some situations, but I know how to avoid them. And I mean, generally speaking, I don't really run away from these situations, so I guess you could say luck is on my side. Yeah, you do have people here who are quite like, they don't want anyone living here who is not Russian. And that is the extent of racism. And then, yeah, of course, you have like the traditional racism that you think of it as, where just Russian people don't like a certain group of people, maybe black people, maybe like specifically here, the Uzbek and Kazakh people. If you're an American, it's not really a hatred for the people. It's more of a sentiment that maybe the Americans have for the Mexicans, right? Or various Spanish people who cross the border, from the south of the U.S. So it's a similar kind of dynamic. What else? Yeah, so, because like no one else really cares, like no other like cultures or races within Russia really cares about sharing this land. But when one nationality begins to call it their land and say, well, get out of my country, then of course the other people begin to feel a sentiment towards them. Begin to dislike Russian people, things like this. But you have a lot of different people living here: Armenians, Georgians, Belarusians, Polish, people from everywhere. So it's just a really multicultural place. And, I'm living in Moscow, and that's not really Russia. So, it just kind of really depends on where you are as well. Anyway, I'm going to go. I think I said quite a bit about this. The sun is quite in my face. I'm going to walk backwards a bit. I need to find this post office. And I'll see you guys next time. Cheers.